Welcome to the Sports Visions television show. I'm DJ Jones alongside my good friend and traveling partner Dale Williams. How are you, sir?
What's up, player?
Man, I'm feeling really good, man. It seems to be getting back to normal. We got some football going on here in the Bi-City area, and I'm excited. I'm
excited too, DJ. Seems like everything is going to work its way out, and really it's going to be some interesting games from the high school level all the way through the NFL.
Coming up in just a little bit, we'll talk about the game of the week. The Central Red Devils and Hoover went head-to-head. We'll also have an opportunity to talk about the Atlanta Braves and the NBA playoffs. All that and a whole lot more coming up next on Sports Visions.
In Japan, they have something called Kobe beef. That's how we do it at Luke's Pub. 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 Y'all come out and see us.
Welcome back to Sports Visions, Dale. You know what? We finally got back to somewhat of some normalcy, man. I was having the opportunity to go over to Garrett Harrison Stadium to see the game with Central and Hoover, man. Obviously, I was really excited and I was really feeling good. Great atmosphere.
Great atmosphere, DJ, and really it didn't have to be a sellout game to play football, DJ. Really, I think I love the environment and the atmosphere. It was a very good game, probably one of the top 10 games in the whole country, but really Central came out on the short end, DJ, but really had a lot of good football. I was surprised of the caliber of football that was being played for it to be the first game.
More offense than anything, obviously, this early in the season, and again, with these two teams on the field for the first time of the season, two of the top quality football teams in the state. A lot of offensive production, a lot of passing yards. Again, I saw some excellent passing between the Knicks kid and, of course, the kid from Hoover. It was a great opportunity to see Central again. Even though Central came out on the short end of the stick, I was still impressed with the fact that Coach Dixon was able to come into this. This is his first year, new team, new staff. Of course, new culture, completely different from what he had before, of course, when Coach Dubose was here. But I think that they came out and they laid it on the line, and I'm sure they're going to be a lot better.
They're going to be a lot better, and really good things happen for Central when they lose their opening game. So that don't panic, Central Red Devil fans. But I think one of the biggest things that I saw from the game to take away, the two quarterback system. Are they going to continue to do that the whole entire year? Caleb Nix started the game and did a very good job. Played fast. I was concerned about him playing fast, DJ. Could he adapt to the speed of the game? He did that very well. The Trey Miles piece, him coming in, change up, it's a great change up, but I think really one of the biggest things, and this is not critical, if Central could get the snap, DJ, really, you're either going to have to get out of the shotgun or you're going to have to put a quarterback under the center, DJ. Really, every time they snapped the ball, it was questionable would it get back to the quarterback. But really, they do have a budding superstar in Jackson Meeks. This kid is going to be fine. He scored 3 touchdowns, DJ, but the one that they called back on taunting, that's the one that turned the whole game around.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Miles and Nix, the quarterback duo that led the Central offense. Obviously, most teams have struggled to find a number one quarterback, and now they have 2 number ones. So it's going to be interesting to see how it played out. I think that the way he platooned, Coach Nix platooned the 2 quarterbacks, right, was pretty good. I think the chemistry flowed somewhat, but the only thing that threw me off with regards to the football game was out in the kicking game. I noticed that Coach Nix decided to push kick the ball several times and giving Hoover a very, very short field somewhat, when you can kick the ball deep. And I know that probably some film studies showed either that they had a hellacious kick returner or it was a weakness that they were kicking to that. He saw something on film because, like I said, they did it 3 or 4 times as far as pooch kicking on the kickoff instead of driving the ball deep and making Hoover take advantage of going the distance as far as scoring opportunities.
You're exactly right. I know you were sharing that at the game with me, and I'm like, okay, man, they're starting off. Hoover was starting off like 35, less than the 40-yard line every time because of the pooch kick. I think really that part right there, the kicking game hurt Central a whole lot. The snap count and not getting a good exchange helped them, but really the killer piece was on the back end, DJ, in the secondary. They're going to have to get a whole lot better in the secondary. You can't let receivers get comfortable, DJ. If you don't put your hands on them or make them disrupt their routes, they're going to continue to throw the ball deep, and that's what they did. They kept throwing the ball deep, and Central gave up several big plays.
You have to understand, you have to know that defense is going to get better. Obviously, yeah, they had trouble in the back end, but the guys up front wasn't putting pressure on, I thought, to the best of their ability. I know
That's
that
right.
Maybe conditioning had a little bit to do with it, if you ask me, from me being on the field and watching. But, all in all, I do think that the future is bright for the Central Red Devils, both on the offense and defense. But again, you mentioned Jackson Meeks. He's a star. He's going to be, hopefully he can stay healthy. This kid, not only is he a hellacious receiver and run after the catch, powerful young man,
That's right.
but he's also a returner. He was a kickoff returner, punt returner. He also, Dale, is the punter. Now, you tell me, this is one of those guys that really, he probably could play on defense and never come off the field, but that's the kind of kid he is, and he's a great body structure. I mean, he looks a big, strong kid with good speed, good quickness, and he's tough.
He's tough, DJ, and really, he's in that line of great wide receivers that are coming out of Central here lately. I think he's going to be great, DJ, from a all-state player to a big-time player. He is the main man for the Central Red Devils.
Now, you made mention of him having 3 touchdowns,
Right.
and they called one back, but obviously, going to him in critical times, and him just being a man amongst boys, tremendous hands, very strong hands. And I like to see how the other teams the opposing teams in the upcoming weeks are going to try to, of course, contain him. They're going to have to double him.
They're going to have to double him, DJ, and I'm sure that they're going to try to disrupt his route, put somebody on him, and have somebody over the top. That's the only way you're going to cover this guy. And like you said, he's such an athlete. He probably play on the other side of the ball. But from the punting perspective, I'm not just saying he's just an average punter. He is an excellent punter. And I think really Central has some of those key players. But I think really one of the biggest things about Central, they know where they have to improve that. And I think Coach Mix is going to take an opportunity to make sure that they get better in those areas where they're weak.
I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Opelika High School on getting their first victory, as well as Auburn and Glenwood. Glenwood playing lights out. We had opportunity to talk to Jason Gibson several weeks back. He was excited that he had some returning players, and he felt like this would be his year. And knocking off last year's state champion definitely sent a message.
I mean, really, it sends a message, DJ, and we talk about this all the time, every football season. We have some great football in this area on the Alabama side and on the Georgia side, but I was really impressed with how these teams played, DJ. You're thinking, okay, they've been practicing for about 2 months now, and you can kind of see the difference. They played fast, they executed very well. We saw some great football. I was thinking that we were going to see some messy football, but we got some pretty good football, DJ.
Absolutely. And again, we have an opportunity, all week long on our radio show to talk to the coaches in the Bi-City area, getting the update on what their teams are, what we can expect of their team this year. And we'd love to do that.
We'd love to do that, DJ. And I think really, each week when we do a game of the week or even talk about some of these games, we can get that coach on the line. And really, one of the biggest things about our high school football luncheon, DJ, is having the relationship with all these football coaches.
All right, we'll take a short break. This is Sports Visions.
Should planning your travel be more stressful than staying at home? Of course not. Here at Lumpkin Travel, our VIP service makes traveling easy and fun.
Girls Trip!
We've helped serve thousands of people and families experience their dream vacation by taking the hassle out of travel.
Thank you.
We book your flight, reserve your hotel, and make sure you have a stress-free vacation so you can enjoy every moment of it.
Thank you.
We even help you choose different activities that you're guaranteed to enjoy.
Brookhaven!
And the best part is, we find you the best price at no extra charge for you. Actually, 95% of customers save money and time by booking with Lumpkin Travel. So start thinking about your dream vacation. Wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, we'll make it happen for you. As easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today or log on and set up your vacation of a lifetime with Lumpkin Travel, your travel agent for life.
E&S Men's Clothing Warehouse has been your most trusted name in men's fashion for more than 50 years. We've offered the area's best selection of top quality, name brand suits, accessories, and casual wear at the most competitive prices around. Customer service is our top priority. We're the professionals generations have trusted for the best quality and absolutely the best deals. We are E&S Men's Clothing Warehouse. We are simply the best.
Come into Chester's Barbecue for our world-famous mouth-watering ribs, smoked fresh on our grill daily. Or try one of our barbecue pork plates with fresh sides. Chester's has delicious sandwich combos to choose from that are sure to please. We also serve tempting home-cooked favorites. And don't forget to take home your own bottle of great sauce. Chester's Barbecue, serving the best food at the best price, with 3 locations to serve you.
Hey, my name is George, and I love the Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets. It's like me grilling at home. It tastes very similar to that, except the seasoning. I probably can't season it as well as Chick-fil-A does. The chicken's super tender, and honestly, the best nuggets I've ever tasted.
My name is Meredith, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese is the oven-toasted, cheesy top layer. If home had a flavor, it would be Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese. I'm passionate about it.
Gear up for fall at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back to Sports Visions. It's now time for us to talk about our SEC report. And of course, it's brought to us by our good friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors. And Dale, obviously, practice is really gone full throttle now. The guys are well into, of course, training camp. Only a few weeks away from the opening week for the SEC and the ACC. And, still a lot of talk about the conferences that did not that chose to opt out, meaning in the Big Ten as well as the Pac-12. And
Right.
of course, Warren, the commissioner up in the Big Ten, man, he's catching hell.
I'm sure he is, DJ. And I think really, everybody sees all the big-time conferences when the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12, they're going on. They're going to play. They're listening to they're going through their coronavirus protocols. They're doing very well. There's no really news coming out where players are testing positive. They are leaving everything in the hands of their medical staff, DJ. And really, I just think, for us, we talked about this last week on radio, the Big Ten and the Pac-12, maybe they pulled the trigger a little bit too fast.
Absolutely. Again, what we did find out since we taped the last show, we found out that Auburn is going to open up with Kentucky. And I know that the SEC is going to play the 10 SEC scheduled conference games.
That's
and
right.
University of Georgia is going to be going on the road to play Arkansas. And again, as well, that's looking forward to that because they're going up to play again. Sam Pittman, her former recruiter, top recruiter, and top offensive line coach and assistant head coach with the Bulldogs and Kirby Smart. He has the head job in Arkansas, and he's going to welcome the Bulldogs to town.
I'm sure he is, DJ, and he's looking forward to it, DJ. I think that's going to be a pretty tough game. Even though Arkansas don't have the manpower, but I think really just for his coach Pittman, knowing the culture of the Georgia Bulldogs defense, it's going to be a very interesting game. And I think for the first game, that's going to be a great game. For Auburn's game, all these games are going to be pretty good games. There's some pretty good SEC games opening up this season.
Well, you talk about the Auburn game. Auburn's going to host Kentucky on the 26th. But you remember a guy by the name of Joey Gatewood? The second coming of Cam Newton. Well, he has an opportunity to possibly be the starting quarterback when they come down in a few weeks, and we'll see. That'll be interesting to see how Joey Gatewood, if he wins the job this summer, when he comes down in a couple of weeks and plays against the Auburn Tigers. You're talking about the Alabama Crimson Tide going on the road to play Missouri.
Right.
Now, again, that is a good. You expect that's a game that they should win. However, Missouri, it's kind of a swing and miss, a hit and miss. You never know when they're going to play at their best. But I know that they do most of the time when they're home. They play very well. And again, with an opener of this magnitude, with Alabama on the schedule, I'm sure that Nick Saban and the Tide, they need to go in there with their A game.
They need to have their A game. Anytime they play, they got to have the A game, because you can tell that Missouri is going to be ready to play. They got a new offense, they got a new defense, they got a new coaches all over the place, but really one of the biggest things, if you can't get up and play for Alabama in your first game, that's going to be very easy to do if that's me and I'm playing for Missouri. But it's going to be very interesting. But really, as far as the SEC scheduling is concerned, the 10 conference games, I mean, really, everybody already had 8 conference games. Now they add 2 more to it. Really, these 10 conference games is definitely, the SEC is definitely will have the toughest schedule in the country.
Taking a look at some of the conferences that opted out, obviously the Big Ten as well as the Pac-12. Well, the Big Ten is making the most noise, and I mentioned earlier, Commissioner Warren, who is the first new on the job, obviously is catching a lot of heat. And he's not just catching heat from his players, but the parents have gotten really vocal. And, of course, led by Ohio State's quarterback, Justin Fields, who had nearly 300 names on a petition to go ahead and get these guys back in a position to play. The parents, on the other hand, they're actually going after the commissioner of the Big Ten because he wasn't transparent as to why or how he came to his decision to not play this fall. And again, you know what, it's fine to do something, but when you explain to people exactly why you did it and of course the protocol in which led you to that decision, you know, that's important. And again, these parents, man, again, they're a lot smarter, a lot more aggressive today than they were back in the day. And they want to know not just if the players can play, but they want to know why. You know, what made you come to this decision? I
mean, really, DJ, and that's been big, you know, like we said earlier, you know, I think they pulled the trigger a little bit too fast because really you didn't let the parents know what was going on. I'm really surprised that the parents, when they came out, you know, siding on the side of cautions of you don't want your kids to get, you know, catch coronavirus, but at the same time, you want to know why, and these kids have worked so hard. They want to see their kids on the field, and then they look around the country and they see the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 playing. You know the parents going to get hot about that. So really, I think they could have made a better decision, or just waited just a little late, just to talk to the parents, consult a little bit more, and then when you come up with your decision, you won't have to worry about this, because really, the Justin Fields piece, I mean, over 300,000 signing on a petition. That tells you everything right there.
It does. And over the past few weeks, we've had some other health issues to come up based off of the coronavirus. We've had a heart condition, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the word, but it starts with an M. But it's it has something to do with obviously the fluid in the heart muscle. And again, that's a residual of the coronavirus. It's a long-term effect. Several players, collegiate players, have already been affected. And one in particular, a former freshman quarterback at Georgia State, had to sit out this year after, of course, having this condition. And again, so, you know, as we learn more about the unknown of coronavirus and the flu-like symptoms, we're finding out that there are other health issues that are a lot more alarming.
And that's one of the reasons everybody's been so careful, because of those health conditions, you know, and really going through the protocols. You don't want anybody to test positive for it because of the lingering and lasting effects. You definitely don't want anybody on the field that has a heart condition or anything like that, a pre-existing not injury, but some kind of illness. You don't want them to have that and then catch on top of that the coronavirus piece. I think really just not explaining it, DJ, but trusting your medical staff. And I think really, you know, the term getting a second opinion, this goes to another level. And I think really, as far as doctors are concerned, all these doctors around the country, all these experts, you have people that have a second opinion. But I do know this. I think really every school that is playing, that have said that they're going to play this year, DJ, I think they're going to be a whole lot tougher from the medical protocol piece. Has been good. And I think the NBA bubble effect has basically transcended into college football.
Well, again, you know, I appreciate what you said with regards to the NBA, but obviously when you're talking about, you know, 20, 30, 40 people in a bubble versus 150 people in a bubble, that's a little bit different. But I want to pose this question to you before we go to the break. When you consider, you know, teams that are opting out or canceling or postponing, rather, the fall schedule as far as football is concerned, but they're saying they want to play in the spring. My question to you is, what will be different in the spring that's not different now? Because again, you're assuming that there will be a vaccine or a cure.
Well, I think really time is on the side of the Big 10 and the Big 12. But my biggest concern and my biggest question: are you really going to let them play, those two conferences play during the spring, if you're the NCAA, or Are you going to just change everything, or you just like, hey, you all missed your window of opportunity. We're going to stick with the fall. You could have made that decision right then. You should have been thinking about that decision right then. And they didn't make it, so, hey, you just lost out.
Or you can do like our man, the dean up in Tuscaloosa. And of course, I'm talking about Nick Saban. He said you can either play now or play in the spring, and it'll be JV ball.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like Nick. So, really, I think really taking that time and making it the spring, and really, DJ, we had already designated the HBCU's time for the spring. So really, just for that is concerned, and the time, a lot of time will go by. They'll have a vaccine, but really at the same time, like you said, you're playing JV ball. I mean, really, you're doing spring. We didn't have any spring football last year, so really right now, to have spring football now, even after the coronavirus is over with, that's going to be interesting. But I think they just lost their opportunity, DJ.
And I got to share with the folks out there, because I can't just assume that they know what we're talking about when Nick's referred to it as JV ball. Well, all the professional, the NFL prospects, if you will, they won't play in the spring if there's a spring season. So Nick's saying taking the superstars out, or the guys that are going to go to the next level that won't be playing, will be equivalent to playing JV. All right, we're going to take a short break. This is Sports Visions.
Bus is coming in 10 minutes. Come eat breakfast.
Hey, watch the homework.
Do you know it's supposed to rain?
Where's my gray hat? Where did you leave it?
It's your body.
What time does practice end today?
I like that headband. It really makes a statement.
Are you gonna wear this to work? Let's go, bus is here.
Liberty Utilities natural gas. So reliable, you'll forget we're there.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
It started with a few smaller bills. $50 here.
$80.
$100. I had good health insurance.
Why isn't this covered? Well, then they started getting bigger. $800.
$1,800.
I saved for this.
But not that much. I'm glad I had Aflac.
They gave me money when I needed it most.
That's why Aflac is here, to help with the expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
I love that Aflac duck.
Aflac! Get to know us at aflac.com.
Welcome back to Sports Visions. It's now time for our Atlanta Falcons report and, of course, our overall assessment of what's going on in the National Football League. I know that the Falcons are well underway, Dale. Excited. I saw several interviews over the weekend, of course, of Matt Ryan and some of the other players that are counting on to, of course, be very, very integral part of the success of the Falcons this year. And you know what? Just like I anticipated, they're feeling really good about themselves.
They should, DJ. I mean, really, I'm excited about the offensive piece just for the Todd Gurley, him being inserted into the offensive lineup, and the Hayden Hurst piece, the tight end piece. And, they got rid of a good, well, they didn't re-sign Hooper, their tight end from last year. But this guy, Hayden Hurst, he is just as good, DJ, one of the top tight ends that are there. But really, I think just from a defensive perspective, I think really the Dante Fowler piece is going to be huge, and the Grady Jarrett piece is going to be even bigger. But being strong down the middle, DJ, that's going to be a big concern. If they can play defense, DJ, and keep Matt Ryan clean, they got a chance to get off to a good start.
You know, like we said last year, when these the interior part of their defense went down, they went down, of course, with their starting middle linebacker, their starting free safety, their starting strong safety. That's almost taken out. If we were going to relate it to baseball, taking away your shortstop, your second baseman, and your center fielder. Now you know when you lose those quality talent of those three athletes, you know, it goes to hell in a handbasket in a hurry. And it did for the Atlanta Falcons. Now that everybody's back healthy, like I said, I expect definitely a playoff run, and not just a playoff run, a push deep into the playoffs.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, DJ, because really that offensive side of the football, I just think they're going to be just that good on the offensive side, that the defense won't be on the field as much, but I think really when they do get on the field, they'll be able to get off the field this year. I just think, when they open up against the Seattle Seahawks, that's going to be a very important game. Yes, it's the first game, but it is very important that the Atlanta Falcons get off to a good start this year.
I know one thing that's happening, and again, it's coming up in the last several days, is that, again, when you talk about the COVID-19 coronavirus testing, obviously these players are being tested every day, but there's obviously some screw-ups going on in a laboratory up in New Jersey, and they're using a couple of facilities around the country. False negative tests. Now, again, it's hard enough to keep your mind set and focused on your business at hand. But when you have a situation that's out of your control, you're being tested, you're being told, okay, yeah, you're positive, yes, you're negative, but now you got to screw up some kind of way with the laboratories. And now, again, that's something that they can't control, but at the same time, Dale, that's got to be a heck of a psychological effect when you're talking about taking care of your business.
You really said something right there. A false negative. What is that? Now we just talked about getting a second opinion. You don't need to get a second opinion on a test, DJ. You got to make sure that these tests are very, that they're real. You want to make sure that they're real, and really they're just far as having take 2 or 3 tests, and then you got to wait to get the test back. The waiting time, but the accuracy is more important than the waiting time.
I think the Jets and the Browns and several other teams are having a situation because it came back that they had 7, 8, 9 negative tests, and they had turned right around the next day and investigated and found out that wasn't true. So you know what? The implications of that kind of information, false reporting, can really affect a team. Once you get into the season and once they start playing games, you have 7, 8, 9 tests come up negative. These guys have to sit out, and then you find out because after the fact that they've sat out that they were not
accurate,
negative, and those tests weren't accurate. Man, all hell's going to break loose.
Really, because if you test that that it's positive, now you got a 14-day quarantine, and what if it was a false negative and you didn't have it? You lost 14 days, and what you're not playing. So, like you said, that raises a big question mark, player.
And of course, I know the folks out there that are thinking and liking what's happening with the NBA, and we'll talk about that in the playoffs in just a little bit. But the bubble that they have, again, you're talking about a lot less players that you have to account for, a lot less staff. And Dale, I tell you, we just got to keep our fingers crossed with both college and professional football that they can get started and make a run of completing the season.
That's the biggest thing. Let's get started and just really just hope and pray that everything is lined up. The protocols are taken under consideration, that everybody's doing everything that what they can do. The testing is getting even better and getting quicker results. And I think really just for a stand, keeping your mask on, do social distancing, sanitizing, cleaning yourself up. I think all those things, sooner or later, DJ, these numbers are going to start dropping a little bit more. I think really just for as the players are concerned, they're going to become a little bit more careful, for as quarantining, for just staying safe. I think that's going to be the biggest thing, that everybody's going to have to kind of self-sanitize themselves.
Before we go, I do want to make mention of a situation with all-pro safety with the Baltimore Ravens. Earl Thomas has been let go, Dale, and apparently, again, when you see a situation like this, again, he played a lot of great football out with the Seattle Seahawks, and also had a great season last year with Baltimore. However, when you talk about making a move like this early, and he's due $10 million, and he is a Pro Bowl defensive back.
Right.
However, but when you move a guy like this who's been in the league 10, 19 years, you were thinking that he was one of the guys, one of the leaders in your locker room. But we're finding out that the team. This is not a front office thing. This is more of a team decision, because the players on the team and Coach Harbaugh and the way he runs his football team, he has his players he gives his players a lot of leniency with regards to leadership and decisions. And apparently, Earl Thomas, even though he's an all-pro on the field, must not be an all-pro in the locker room.
And that's big right there, what you just said for us, the environment that the Baltimore Ravens have. They are a team first kind of a thing. You know, they have great players, but team is first. No one is bigger than the team. I think the Earl Thomas piece really exceeds outside of the locker room, and I think that's why they want to get rid of it. They don't want anything toxic inside their locker room, because one of the biggest things about football, it is definitely a team sport. And really, just for us fighting among your teammates, you got to squash some things, but even fighting someone that's a safety that's on defense with you, and you know, really, yeah, everybody blows a coverage every now and then. There's temper. Football is a very intense and passionate sport, but you got to stay stable in your mind. They're like, okay, my fault, my mistake. But I'm going to tell you, DJ, evidently, this guy got to be real toxic for the Baltimore Ravens to let him go. $10 million guy, picked all-pro safety, great player, but really he has to be very toxic in the locker room.
I like that word toxic because that's what it has to be. But one other note too, of course, on a report on the New England Patriots and that quarterback situation. I know everybody was excited and thinking that Jarrett Stidham would have an opportunity to compete for a starting job. He's come down with a hip injury, Dale, which causes him to miss some repetitions. Cam Newton, I tell you, man, he's having a ball. He's bobbing and weaving. He's taking that personality into that very conservative, or what we thought was a conservative New England camp. He's dancing around, he's bobbing and weaving, and he's getting those extra reps that Stidham would have gotten. Brian Hoyer is the number one quarterback right now, but right now, as it looks, and based on the body language and if you watch the highlights of the New England practice and you watch Cam, you know, you can tell that he's feeling good about himself. And you know what? They're saying that he's picking that system up a lot quicker than everybody thought he would.
Well, really, I think Cam is just happy and comfortable that he's back on the football field. I think he's been humbled all through this whole process. I think he's feeling a whole lot better each day with the offense. He can control the offense, the things that they want to do with Cam Newton. I think really just for all the talent that he does have, DJ, he's getting along with his teammates, and I think really that's one of the big things about he is just indoctrinated that culture. He's in there now, he feels good about himself, DJ, and really, you know, when you've been down and, you know, you just go somewhere else and you need a change of atmosphere and your teammates kind of surround you, you know, you got camaraderie with your teammates and everybody kind of bought into what you're doing. I think he's going to have a great season, and I think he'll be the starter, DJ.
All right, don't go anywhere. This is Sports Vision.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like. I wish I could fix my lips to express how amazing that love truly is. And even though those words may flow beautifully through a melodic tune, there have been far too many unopened conversations to the address of the elephant that is getting comfortable in our living room when it comes to the topic of being black. A simple color that you see in a box of Crayola crayons, the asphalt where we plant our feet, from the cup of coffee that we wish to drink, or a simple arrow planted on a traffic sign that can lead us to our next destination. Yet every day I find it hard people appreciate this color on materialistic objects rather than the color attached to the pigmentation of human faces. Answer me this. When it comes to the American dream, is it based upon breaking metaphorical chains, securing a financial augmentation, a damsel in distress rescued by a hero answering her cry for hope? No. Because this country has given us more nightmares than dreams, especially wondering if our children will ever return home. As a black boy in this country, statistics have shown that our most anticipated moment is receiving a diploma at our high school graduation. But hearing our names across that stage doesn't compare to the words, "Son, it's time you and I have a conversation." To explain the nature of you asking, why did the kids look at me weird on the playground in the 3rd grade? Or why did Jeff and Amy say that they could no longer play with me? In a society built for your anxiety. A crippling nation we live in, and the frustration of being the ones playing the music sad violins. Now, You're young. I know, and I once found myself in your shoes, 16 and free, where my soul had a right to choose what I wanted to achieve. What do you want to be when you grow up? Miss Parker asked. And as she was finishing up to the back of the class, I found myself throwing my right hand up to where it was evident. The president. I want to be the president. As the class turned slow to me, I realized that no one wanted to address the elephant. That black boys can never be respected in that way. And while it sits back in '83, even today your generation isn't much more free than when I was your age. So son, before I let you have these keys, I must say something. Be cautious. Because even though you are a king, this world will look down on you as if they were better, making you feel like nothing. It'll make you want to scream, accusing you of stealing in the dressing room, asking the passive-aggressive, may I help you look for anything? May I help you look for something? And the stare you'll get from the cashier in the gas station when you're just looking for your favorite drink. Son, when you're on that road, think twice about speeding, not using your blinker, or making too long of eye contact with the stranger next to you at the red light. Because while it is your right to be on the road just as much as anyone else, the kids who are white don't have to fear for their lives by men who sit as killers in the skies. If you're pulled over, don't ever look at them directly in the eyes. Keep both hands on the wheel. And though you may feel disrespected, always stay respectful with a yes, sir. Because it's better for you to live and see tomorrow than to be another hashtag that'll occur. So as you lay your head on your pillow, remember this. Though this may be land of the free, the voices that came before you had a price to pay. And though black boy joy may cease, the fear of a black man shall never fade away. So in this country of peaceful protests, fallen angels, and all of the filmed violence, son, may you always hold your peace, but never hold your silence.
Welcome back to Sports Visions, Dale. Major League Baseball is now time for our Atlanta Braves report. And again, our Atlanta Braves are playing well. A couple of great games in the series against the Phillies over the weekend. Right. But they have the big bad New York Yankees in town, of course, earlier in the week. And
that's right.
We're going to really see how they stack up. I know they've been playing well. And again, obviously, playing well even without their two best players.
I mean, really, that's been the biggest thing that jumps out at me, DJ. They're playing very well even without Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Osbourne. That is big, but really, like you said, they start early this week with a series against the Yankees. They have to be able to play against the Yankees and the Dodgers and people of that nature. And when they start doing that, they're going to be fine. Even in the midst of not having pitchers, DJ, they're still playing well. They're hitting the ball. That piece with moving Dansby Swanson to lead off and Freddie Freeman hitting second and Marcell Ozuna, he's hitting third. That top of the three of that lineup, and they still have some guys that have been hitting the ball on the back end too, DJ. So they're doing very well, and they're just surviving when it comes to pitching.
I'm very impressed with Marcell Ozuna. He is he lays it heavy, man. He hits it a long way, and again, I know that he was the nemesis in the fold against when the Braves were playing against the teams when he was on those other teams, man. But again, I'm glad he brought his hitting talent to the Braves because we need it right now. And again, I don't know where we would be if we didn't have him in the lineup.
I mean, really, he's done a great job, really. And then the other piece, DJ, we got to pay attention to this. That designated hitter piece, that piece is big. It works great for the Atlanta Braves. Nick Markakis, he's out basically because he tested positive, but I think he'll be coming back this week. So really, and I think really with Ronald Acuna been on a 10-day on the DL list for 10 days. I think really now it's going to be time. He's going to be coming off pretty good, and hopefully when he comes off, he'll be on fire again. And Ozzie Osbourne, these guys both have wrist injuries, DJ, which as soon as you can get these guys back into the lineup, they're going to be a little bit more potent. But really over the weekend, they score over 12 runs against the Phillies, and then at the same time they're hitting 17 hits. They're hitting, everybody's hitting, but I think really that bottom, that 7, 8, 9 spot in their lineup, these guys are hitting. You know, the Austin Riley piece has been good. The Adam Duvall piece has been great. You know, and I think really just being able to hit the ball and keep the ball in play has been big for the Atlanta Braves.
Like I said, we've been excited about the Braves and what they've been able to do up to this point. And again, I know by the time this show airs, obviously the Yankees series would have been over, and we're elated now, but we would really be excited and ecstatic if, of course, the Braves were able to take care of business early in the week with the Yankees.
I mean, really, if they get off to a good start, this of home ending, well, this is going to be the end of the homestand for the Braves against the Yankees. But if they could just sweep the Yankees, they're playing 2 games, DJ. If they can take care of the Yankees in these games, that will be big. It'll be a great indicator that the Braves can play, and they do have some talented players. And but they've got to get the pitching piece right. Max Fried has done a great job. He is the Braves' #1 pitcher right now. The Kyle Wright piece, he hadn't been so good, but really at the same time, I think they're dangling 2K to Sun out there, DJ, for a trade and try to pick up another kind of veteran pitcher. But they got to get some pitching, man. They definitely have to get some pitching and really keep on hitting hitting the baseball.
All right, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have the final segment of Sports Vision.
In Japan, they have something called Kobe beef. That's how we do it at Luke's Pub. 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 Y'all come out and see us.
Welcome back to today's final segment of Sports Visions. Dale, we had a long lineage of sports to talk about. We didn't talk about the NBA playoffs, even though we know that the first round is coming to an end, and obviously we'll get more and more in depth about it in each week's show because, again, the closer we get to the finals, the more information that we are excited about. But, again, I do want to congratulate the Los Angeles Lakers, obviously opening up, again, losing in the first game. But, you know, again, LeBron James, when you have a guy like that on your team, you can never count him out.
You can never count him out, DJ, and I think really when they just have to switch and get the chemistry back. Yeah, they've been kind of like on hiatus when they've been in the bubble because they already knew that they were going to be the #1 seed. I think now the teams that get hot and they start playing, their chemistry start getting back, and I think the Lakers are getting to that point. You know, and hats off to the Toronto Raptors who, you know, swept their series. They're going to be moving along. And I think for the other piece for us is not just the Raptors beating the Nets, DJ. You know, when you start talking about a sweep when it comes to the Miami Heat, sweeping the Indiana Pacers, you can't count the Miami Heat out. The Jimmy Butler piece, Jimmy Butler is a bad man, DJ.
He is indeed. And again, Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers got themselves together after a shaky start. But man, oh man, I think the surprise of the entire first round has to be the Dallas Mavericks and what they're doing, led by Luka Doncic. He is outstanding. Hit a game buzzer winner the other night from deep. And this young man, at only 21 years old, the sky is the limit. And he already has made his mark in the league as one of the top 10 basketball players in the National Basketball Association.
No question about it, DJ. And like I said, who would have thought the Dallas Mavericks would be giving the LA Clippers a time of life? As we taping this show, it's a 2-2 series, man, and Luka Doncic, 45 points, 15 rebounds, 17 rebounds. I mean, really, when you have a triple-double of that magnitude, we used to seeing triple-doubles 10, 10, and 10, but this guy he is one of the outstanding players in the NBA.
Before we go, we want to thank each and every one of you for taking your opportunity or taking your time to watch the Sports Vision's television show right here on CTV Beam, of course, every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Again, I'm getting the radio mixed up here. And I also want to thank our radio listeners out there on, of course, PMB Broadcasting, WRCG 92.1. We're on live every Monday and Thursday from 4 to 6 o'clock. And if that's not enough for you, we have a free app. Did you know that? I'm telling you right now, and I want you to spread the word. We have a free app. Go to your app store, type in Sports Visions Radio. You should see our logo pop up, and boom, when you do, when it's downloaded, you can go into the menu and listen to our podcast series. And again, you can catch all of the shows from months ago. Man, I tell you, it's exciting to know that, you know what, that much content is still available if you get bored.
Hey, for the best in local, regional, and national sports, tune in to the Sports Vision radio show and the Sports Vision TV show.
Well, that's going to do it for all the sports we have for you today. For Dale Williams, I'm DJ Jones, reminding you to keep your eye on the ball. Have a great week.